All right. Welcome back to Listen Up YouTube channel. My name is Jordan, and today I'm going to be presenting the biggest winners and losers from week 5. And there's a lot I could have put on this list, honestly, because there's a big discrepancy between the teams that were really good and the teams that weren't. But I'm doing 3 each. I'm going to start off with the losers this past weekend. Number 1, I had the Carolina Panthers. There's a lot going on in that franchise. We look at Matt Rule's contract. He signed a 7-year, $62 million contract. Only used up 3 years. The next 4 years, he's owed $40 million from the franchise, mainly from the owner. And I think the Panthers are in trouble. They started off 1-4 now. They acquired Baker Mayfield to accelerate that offense, and they couldn't do it. Well, Baker couldn't do it. He hasn't been playing well, and now they're at a different stage. Now they're rebuilding all over again, right? I mean, they're going to be fire sailing Christian McCaffrey, Brian Burns. I mean, who else? Maybe even DJ Moore. I don't know. And the Panthers are in trouble, and I think they're long-term losers now for the next year, probably longer, because they're just going to be acquiring draft capital and rebuilding again. And, man, the Panthers, it's like they haven't been good since 2015, it feels like, and I don't know. I don't know, man. That's number 1. Number 1's the Panthers. Number 2, I have the Miami Dolphins. This past weekend was interesting, right? Well, the past 2 or 3 weeks for them have been interesting. They lost Tua to a concussion twice. He shouldn't have been out there the second time, but of course, they put him out there. He went to the hospital, of course. Then they put out Teddy Bridgewater this past weekend, and he gets a head injury, right? Now they put out Skylar Thompson, and they lose 40-17, right, to the Jets. And, oh, man, they're a disaster. And now coming up to this next week, right, they're not going to have Tua or Bridgewater, and Skylar Thompson will be starting again. So that might be another L for the Dolphins. It's almost like karma, right? They shouldn't have put Tua out there, but they did. And because they did, guess what? Bridgewater gets hurt. So, number 2 are the Miami Dolphins. For number 3, I have the Cleveland Browns. Man, Cleveland Browns. They had a chance there at the end to win the game twice. The first time they had a chance to win the game, there was about 2 minutes and 54 seconds on the clock, and Brissett threw a red zone interception, right? And they could have, it's like they could have almost locked it up there, and they didn't. Then the Chargers, right, with their infamous crap that they always do, right, decides to go for it on 4th and 2 with about 1:10 left on their own 40. They miss it. Of course, they missed the attempt, and the Browns have it at their 40, right, or the Chargers' 40, with 1:10 left and no timeouts. You'd think it'd be a perfect opportunity, but they barely drive anywhere, and then Cade York misses the game-winning field goal. It's like the Chargers gave them so many chances, and they failed. So that's my 3 biggest losers this past weekend: the Panthers, Dolphins, and the Browns. Now transitioning the biggest winners, and it's kind of crazy because I have 2 New York teams. Number 1 I have is the Giants. They had a big win in London this past weekend, and they looked really impressive. Daniel Jones looks impressive. He only threw 6 incompletions, right? He had 21 for 27 with over 200 yards, and he just looks consistent. He looks consistent, right? And then we transition over to Saquon Barkley, who, in my opinion, has been the best running back this year. He's looked so good. And I've been seeing him here and there, and he just looks like the old Saquon, right? That rookie year Saquon that we dearly love, and Saquon's back. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's comeback player of the year. So that's my number 1 winner. My number 2 winner are the New York Jets. And listen, congrats to the New York Jets, man, for pulling out a draft that is worthwhile. Now they got Breece Hall, who is a bona fide star, right? Had 100 receiving yards, 97 rushing yards. Gosh, man, he looks incredible, right? Ahmad Sauce Gardner looks great. And, man, even Garrett Wilson has had a few games where he looks phenomenal. the Jets aren't a laughing stock of the NFL anymore. And I think they should be taken seriously now. They should be considered a serious team. And they might be a serious team to the AFC East. I don't know. But the Jets are my number 2 team. And finally, the number 3 team are the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not the biggest winners. They won by the skin of their teeth. Listen, they had to get a kicker named Dicker. Of course, Cameron Dicker, who was a special teams player of the week this past week. And he played really good. But, man, that was a hard-fought win for the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts played good. He didn't play great, but he played good. He got the ball in the end zone. Eagles moved to 5-0, and they got to play that daunting Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football next week. That'll be exciting. But, yeah, this past weekend was pretty incredible. But that's my 3 biggest losers and winners. Losers being the Panthers, Dolphins, and Browns. The winners being the Giants, Jets, and the Eagles. And that's about it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, please like and subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.